Greetings, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to day 10 of albums that are 50 years old in 2022. Yes, we are looking back each and every day during the month of January here in 2022 at my favorite albums released in that magical year of 1972. A great year for music of all kinds, including this next one. So this particular release, there's one gentleman, one of our viewers who has been each and every day predicting that I was going to or hoping that I would pick this particular album each and every day. I'm predicting that Pete is going to pick album X today, and if he's not, I'm so sorry that I keep posting this every single day, but I really can't wait till he picks this particular album because I love it so much. Well, your day has come, my friend. Today's album was released October 11th, 1972, produced by Michael Shreve and Carlos Santana for CBS Columbia Records. Yes, I'm talking about Caravan Serai by Santana, fourth studio album from the band. Kind of a different album, a little bit of a departure from their first three albums, which, if you're not familiar with those albums at all, very hard-charging fusion of like psychedelic Latin rock and little bits of jazz and lots of ethnic influences and searing guitars, lots of percussion, great drumming, right? Hammond organ and vocals by Greg Raleigh. Just a really cool mix of sound that at the time, you know, when that first Santana album came out, that was something really, really different. Of course, the band had their big debut on the big stage at Woodstock in 1969, August of 1969, and they never looked back from there. First three albums, hugely successful, all right, a great mix of like instrumentals and really catchy Latin tinge rock music, right? Lots of psychedelia and blues and jazz and all this kind of stuff mixed together in the Santana stew pot, which, you know, caught a lot of people by surprise and gained a pretty huge following. So they released their third album, okay? It's really interesting because I'm actually looking at the on the back of the CD reissue. It says originally released in 1973. You are incorrect, Sony Legacy. It says it right there. Originally released in 1973. Wrong. I for a minute there, I was like, wait a second, did I get this wrong? No, I did not. So the band at this point in time comprised of, big cast here. We got Carlos Santana, of course, on lead guitars, vocals, a little bit of percussion. Neil Schon, a very young teenage Neil Schon on guitar. Greg Raleigh, organ, lead vocals, electric piano. Douglas Rauch on bass. Douglas Rodriguez on guitar on one track. You got Wendy Haas on piano. Tom Rutley, acoustic bass. Michael Shreve on drums, percussion, and vocals. Jose Chipito Arias, percussion, congas, timbales, bongos. James Mingo Lewis, yes, that Mingo Lewis. Percussion, congas, bongos, vocals, acoustic piano. Armando Peraza, percussion and bongos. Hadley Kaliman on saxophone and flute. Rico Reyes on vocals. Lenny White on castanets, Tom Coster on electric piano, and Tom Harrell on orchestral arrangements on a track. So this, excuse me, this is the band really getting set to go in a different direction. And there might be some of you watching who were of the age at the time where maybe you were buying these Santana albums as they were originally coming out, and then, you know, the first three albums all three of them have a formula to them. And then this album comes out and it kind of takes all that and throws it out the window. So by this point in time, you know, this is right around the time where Carlos is starting to commiserate and hang out with guys like John McLaughlin, and there's all this jazz fusion stuff happening at this time, right? So you got Mahavishnu Orchestra, and you've got Weather Report, and of course Miles Davis. So all this stuff is happening. And Carlos is kind of soaking all this in, and he's like, I want to do stuff like that, right? So this is a really different album. There are vocals on this album, but this is a much more atmospheric, spiritual jazz fusion album or jazz rock album. You still do have a lot of the Latin flavors here. However, this is pretty much a fusion album. All right, so if you like all that other stuff that was coming out at the time, this is Santana's big foray into the fusion scene. And actually, the band would actually go and do a few other albums that kind of hint at this, although none as successful as this. And what I really love about this album, for me, to kind of pick out tracks that are, you know, highlights on here, this to me is an album that you have to listen to from start to finish, which that's usually how I listen to most things, but specifically this album, it kind of ebbs and flows, and tracks kind of bleed into the next, and it needs to be taken as a whole. I mean, it starts off with all the little nature sounds in the beginning, and then the crying guitars come in, and man, Carlos and Neil are like so in sync on this album. It's a shame they, didn't make this partnership between them last a little longer. But as every good mentor does, right? He taught Neil what he needed to know to go off and form Journey with Greg Raleigh. I think both those guys were probably of the mindset during the recording of this album and say, wow, there's some really different stuff going on here. We kind of want to rock out a little bit more, and Carlos is bringing all these other people in. So, they moved on to start up Journey, and if you haven't listened to those first couple Journey albums, it's kind of like an extension of Santana's third album, but, with a little more rock into it. So, but yeah, I mean, there's some great stuff on here, like Eternal Caravan and Reincarnation, Waves Within starts it off. You got Look Up to See What's Coming Down. Just in Time to See the Sun. There's a little bit of that funky Latin thing going on here, but not a lot. This is very atmospheric and just really emotional guitar playing. Lots of percussion and the layers of keys. It's just a really, really, I hate to say spiritual sounding album, but it kind of is. Right, and it just kind of just hits you, kind of like the Mahavishnu Orchestra stuff, especially some of their more mellow atmospheric stuff. It's very spiritual based. Song of the Wind is absolutely lovely. It has some amazing guitar work on that. All the Love of the Universe is excellent as well. You got Future Primitive, Stoneflower Kills, La Fuente del Ritmo, and Every Step of the Way. I mean, this is a great album. This is, to me, a 5 out of 5 star album, and personally, the first 4 Santana albums are pretty much untouchable. They're all perfect albums in my opinion. I like every moment of every bit of music on all the first Santana albums. But this one is quite different, and I love it for it. Like I said, they would go on to do other albums that would touch upon this sort of thing, but a little more vocal based, but they still kind of hit on some of these, fusion-y type things. But I only think it worked truly to perfection on this album, although there's many moments of greatness on the handful of albums that come after this. But this, to me, is the pinnacle. Caravan Serai from Santana is my pick today for day 10. Let us know what you think about this classic album down in the comments below, but more importantly, also please list your pick for day 10 as we move our way through December and the year 1972, albums that are having their 50th anniversaries or 50th birthdays here in 2022. So thanks for watching. Visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, of course, we're here on YouTube all the damn time. More of these coming up each and every day this week and throughout the rest of the month, so stay tuned for every morning, usually about 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's usually when you can expect these. So thanks for watching, and tune in tonight to the Hudson Valley Squares. We've got an interesting couple of weeks. We're doing a little kind of like fun experiment on the Hudson Valley Squares for the rest of this month tonight and the next couple of Mondays. We're going to be doing revisiting those album battle shows. That's right. So we're going to be picking 2 albums. Specifically, we're going back 40 years to 1982. So for the next couple of weeks, we're going to be taking a bunch of albums, putting them up against each other from 1982 that are celebrating their 40th anniversaries, and we're having the panelists pick and debate which are their favorites of the 2. So tonight, we've got Screaming for Vengeance by Judas Priest going up against Number of the Beast by Iron Maiden. 2 absolute metal classics from 1982 that is happening tonight on the Hudson Valley Squares. We've got In the Prague Seat coming up tomorrow, where we are doing another cool show. We are going to be talking about, each and every one of us on the panel, we're going to be talking about our favorite and least favorite Rush albums. That's coming up tomorrow. Wednesday, we've got new album review day. What's Hot with Sea of Tranquility. Thursday is the Monsters Den. Friday morning at the Funhouse with Martin Popoff. We've got Saturday, the UK Connection, our new regularly scheduled Saturday program. And Sunday, we've got album homework assignment. So all sorts of cool things happening this week. You don't want to miss any of it. So stay tuned. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and click on that notification bell so you get alerted of all of our content. And we also have the link to our Ko-Fi page below for channel donations, as well as the link to our merch page for all sorts of cool Sea of Tranquility stuff. Thanks for watching, everybody. I am Pete Pardo. We'll see you later on with Hudson Valley Squares, and tomorrow morning with more of albums that are 50 years old in 2022. Thanks for watching. See you then. Bye-bye.